Hi everyone, I've already uploaded some videos showing some gameplay content from my Sony HDM-3830, and since this is considered as one of the largest HD CRTs ever manufactured, I thought it would be cool to show some gameplay content from one of the smallest consoles ever manufactured. And that happens to also be manufactured by Sony. I'm talking about the PlayStation TV, or Vita TV as it was called in Japan. It's a really small console, just compare the size next to the HDM monitor. So for those of you who are not familiar with the PS TV, Sony released this back in, I believe, 2014. So basically what this is a consoleized version of the PS Vita, the handheld PS Vita. So this is a consoleized version which you hook up to your TV. This became a major flop. There are many reasons for that. One of the main reasons was that Sony had restricted it in several major ways. You couldn't play all the games from the Vita on this. There were other restrictions. You couldn't use many of the functions from the Vita on this. So this became a major flop. I believe they were just sold out for like $20 in the end. But once again, the homebrew community stepped in and they released some great applications for it. You can nowadays soft mod it and remove any restrictions. So of all my consoles, if there is one I would strongly recommend soft modding, it's the PS TV. You'll never be able to take the full potential of this unless you soft mod it. So let's get to it, and I'll show you some gameplay content from the PlayStation TV hooked up to the Sony HDM. So now I've hooked up the PS TV to my HDM. And one of the cool things which the homebrew community did was to release an app which allows you to use the PS4 controller's touchpad as a touchscreen for the Vita. So as you can see here, I'm using the touchpad here to control the menus. Another cool feature on the PS TV is that you're also able to upload movies to it. So for instance, I've uploaded a few movies here. Let's play Ghost in the Shell. This is probably one of the best animes ever made, in my opinion. So this is quite cool. So what you're seeing here is actually a UMD movie which was released for the Sony PSP. You remember the UMD? That was Sony's movie file format for the Sony PSP. So it's quite cool. I would say it's almost DVD quality. It's really cool. So yeah, I will just turn it off so I don't get any copyright restrictions on this video. Let's go over to games. I have a few games here. Let's begin with one of the best games on the system and also one of the best looking ones, Killzone, Mercenary. As I mentioned, I don't have any sound hooked up at the moment, so excuse me for that. Yeah, so this is Killzone Mercenary, and I would say the graphic is really nice. I mean, it's not very far from PlayStation 3 level of graphics. So yeah, really nice graphics. Amazing how Sony managed to pack in so much power in such a small console. So we're coming up here to a place where you're supposed to, if you play this on Vita, you're supposed to use your touchscreen to kill this guy in a melee attack. But since I'm playing this with a PS4 controller, I can turn on the touch pointers in this game. So you see these two touch pointers. So like that, to kill him off. Yeah, so this is one of those silly gimmicks which many of the game developers put into their Vita games, which doesn't really translate very well over to the PS TV. But apart from that, I mean, the rest of the game works really nice, and it plays like a normal shooter. You can duck, you can jump, you can zoom in. So we'll just kill all these guys. Yeah, the graphic style kind of reminds me of Killzone Shadowfall on the PS4, which in my opinion is a really underrated game. I mean, I don't know why people criticized it, because personally I think it was a great game. Yeah, so Killzone Shadowfall, I personally think it was a really nice game. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't know why people criticized it. Yeah, kind of baddies. Shoot him off here. Double kill. Headshot. I mean, I had lots of fun playing the Shadowfall in multiplayer. It's really fun. Oh yeah, I died here. That's bad. Yeah. Now you're on a glider. I mean, just look at the graphics. I mean, it's amazing. This looks like Dubai, I would say. It looks like Dubai. Yeah, I mean, this is Killzone for the Vita. Let's try another game. Let's turn this off. I'll show you another one of my favorite games on the PS TV. That's Ridge Racer. I mean, you can't show a PlayStation system or Sony system without showing a Ridge Racer. Oh, by the way, the thing you see up in the top left corner, that shows that's actually an application I'm using for the PS TV, which allows me to overclock the system, as well as use high resolution for some of the games, which not all of the games allows you to increase the game resolution, but a few of the games, Killzone, Ridge Racer, and a few others, I think there is like 25-30 games which allows you to increase the resolution. So what I did here is to increase the resolution. Let's try World Race. It's the same thing here. I mean, like with Killzone. I mean, you have all the menus are controlled by using the touchpad, which is kind of awkward on a larger screen. So yeah, let's go for it. I should maybe turn off the touch pointers in the game. I mean, as you can see, it looks really nice. I would say this reminds me a lot. Graphic-wise, it reminds me a lot of Ridge Racer 7 on the PS3. So yeah, I mean, this is really good for such a small handheld system. And it's also one of these games which translates really nice over to the consoleized Vita, the PlayStation TV. I mean, you have the same type of controllers as on previous Ridge Racer games. You can slide, you can use it to take on those tight corners. One thing which is, I mean, by the way, Ridge Racer was actually, I believe it was the first PlayStation game I played on the PS1 back in 1995. You had to be there to, I mean, you had to be there to just understand the hype. It was an amazing experience to be able to see arcade style graphics on a home console. The leap from 16-bit graphics over to 32-bit 3D polygons. I mean, you've never had that kind of big leap in console generations ever since when that happened. If you saw Wipeout or Ridge Racer back in 1995 and compared it to what we had on the 16-bit consoles, I mean, it was like day and night. I remember seeing Ridge Racer and Wipeout the first time. I was like, this is just too damn good. Yeah, so this is Ridge Racer on the Vita. I should maybe finish off with a PSP game, because the PlayStation TV also allows you to play PSP games. So you get a massive library of games. Let's try something cool on the PSP. Let's try Outrun, because Outrun was actually, yeah, let's try Outrun. So, single player game. Let's try to beat the flag gun. Okay, let's try. Okay, I can only choose the Dino automatic. I mean, it's quite amazing how good this looks. I mean, this is a PSP game, a freaking PSP game, and we are running it on a consoleized PlayStation Vita. So we are running this on the PS TV, outputting it to a 38-inch CRT screen, and it looks really nice, I would say. I mean, okay, the frame rate is not as good as on the PS3, of course, mean, this is a handheld which was released back in 2004. It's almost 20 years old. So, but still, it's really nice. Yeah, so that's the PS TV on the Sony HDM. Please leave comments and suggestions or questions in the comment field, and I'll see you next time. Take care.